Hello MBN, Shannon here from I Cook You Serve. I'm joined today with Natalie from Writer for You. We've had a quick chat already, it's been really lovely, but we're going to focus on Natalie's business now. So Natalie, your business started in 2017. You are a copywriter, blogger and print copy. We'll go into all of those later and get some real details out of that, but how did you start your business?
Okay, so I was very fortunate that, well, long story short, I worked at Nationwide for a long time as an analyst, somebody who I would go and talk to various people in the business,
Yes.
try and find out what they needed from the systems that Nationwide had in place and turn those things into things that we could build. Anyway, I was a bit so it was all about understanding what customers wanted, what the business wanted, and creating solutions that made that work on the technology side. I took redundancy because Nationwide, like many big companies, often does different rounds of redundancy, and I'd got to a point where my children were both at school and at different stages in school, and although I enjoyed my job, I sometimes found it a little bit frustrating, and I thought, if I don't take this opportunity now, I don't know when I will. So I mean, if you're lucky enough to walk away from a job with a little bit of cash behind you, it's a good
thing. Important to take I think.
Exactly. And it was really good because it meant I was able to spend a few years at home as the kids grew up, helping them with the homework, getting them to school, making sure they were all sorted. But I wasn't sure what to do next, and I did some online courses, creative writing, child psychology. Weirdly, why not?
Interesting.
Because I had the kids at home, probably. And I had a friend who's a copywriter, and I talked to him about what he did and whether or not he felt that I could do it. And he suggested that I might be able to, and offered to spend some time with me and lend me a load of books. And it was really, really good for me because it helped me understand what's involved in copywriting. So, and my communication skills have always been a thing that helps me, because I understand that it's all about understanding what you want rather than what I need to tell you. It's all about focusing on the audience. When I was working at Nationwide, you might be working on the same product, but what you'd tell the finance department will be different to what you tell the branch people, which would be different to what you tell customer services, because everybody has different things they need to know.
I think your client-led language that you use, and that it's always with the client in mind, is very, very clear when it comes to actually looking at what you do and how you work your business. So I think that's something that not every business has. I think that's a really important way to run your business, because it's not about the business owner, which I'm always a really big fan of. Like, it's not about me, it's about the client, it's about their experience.
And that's absolutely and I think more and more I think if I'd have tried to do copywriting about 5-10 years ago, when it was all about pushing sales, about deals, about kind of the bottom line, I don't think I'd have been any good at it. But now we all understand that as businesses, what we need to do is build a relationship with our clients. We need to actually speak their language and help them to trust us, because we can't expect people to come to us. We're talking to them in a way that shows them that we're the right people for them. And I think that's where I can help.
Brilliant. That's good. So I think your appreciation for language is really clear. But something I kind of really want to get into is that you've already said that it's client-led what you do, but I want to kind of pick at some details. So within copywriting and getting those details out, I assume it's all about asking the right questions to draw that information out. Do people always know how they want to come across, or is that something you have to work with?
They don't always know. Often people do. It can depend a lot on the stage of the business and people's understanding of their own business. You'll often have that conversation where you say to somebody, right, who are you trying to appeal to? And they'll say, oh, everybody, this product is for everybody. And you kind of think, well, that's great. But actually, who's it going to help the most? Who do you want to work with? And one of the things I always suggest people focus on, especially for services, well, actually, no, it works as well for product, people that are selling a product, is who are the clients or customers who keep coming back to you, who you love having that relationship with, and focus on those. What is it you love about them? Because those are the things that are important to you. I mean, it may just be that they smile when they see you. Well, what is it about you and them that makes that work? Obviously, for most of us, it's somebody that pays on time, or somebody who trusts us. But there are going to be things, and if you find it hard to say, this is who my audience are, then think specifically about people you've worked with and what it is that's special about them and why you want more of them, because there are more of them out there.
Yeah.
The chances are a lot of them are friends.
Yes. I think that there's some great tips there. And I think when people go rewatch the recording, go back and write down all of those questions, because you've just given so many areas of how we can really focus to improve all of the communication that we give out, but especially the written communication and when working with clients. So is it the same? How do you get to know people's audience? Is this your own market research? Obviously, you try to pull as much out of the client as possible. How does that work for you?
It's a bit of both, really. So we'll have those kind of conversations with the client where you talk about who it is they want to be contacting them, who it is they already deal with. We can do some research. We can, I can go online. I'll obviously look at their website, Facebook pages, LinkedIn pages, whatever's appropriate. Understanding how they present themselves on social media, because there's no point in me putting something out there that completely is a tangent from what else they're presenting. And if there is a clash there, then obviously we need to talk about that.
Yeah, that's when working with copywriters, I think that's generally someone's like quite a big concern, isn't it? Like, what if you don't do it in my voice?
Absolutely. Yeah.
It sounds like you really get to know people though, so that you can deliver what they want to say in their voice, or in an appropriate version of what they have to say.
That would always be my hope. It's because, quite frankly, part of the reason I'm doing this is because I actually really like working with the people and the businesses. So I don't want to put words in your mouth. I want to be able to present you as I see you, because I work with people who I think do something really well and yet have trouble kind of presenting that. So if I can just help you be you in that way, fantastic. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I'll get told off for saying this, because when people say to me, I can't write, to me, the thing is, you can write, and okay, there are things that you'll struggle with, but there are things that I'll struggle with too. I don't get it right first time. I throw drafts away because it hasn't worked. I'll write and then scribble it all out and come back to it. But that's fine, because you use a copywriter, so you don't have to do all that. But the thing that I think is important is that, in the same way, the first draft I send out to a client, they might say, okay, I like what you've done there, but I would never use that word. And so between us, we'll come up with the right words, because that's really important. So it's not like I'll hand something over to you and then you've got to use it. It's a collaboration. It's me taking away the bit you don't want to do, but still ensuring that you get back what you want at the end of it.
Brilliant. I think that's really important. You talk quite a lot about working with people and not businesses. You have such a human element to it, and I think that is so important with the social media sales. There's a lot of hard sales, and I really like that you're not about that, and I think that's really reflected in how you run your business as well, because you're not just selling and selling and selling, you're teaching as well. Like, you do a lot of workshops, you have a lot of packages where it's like, I can do this, but actually we can do this. So tell us about your blog packages.
So so the blog packages, people want different things. I personally feel that blogging is really important for a business. It allows businesses to share their knowledge, which again goes back to this building relationship, building trust, showing people what you know, because that's how they'll choose who they want to work with. It also helps keep your website updated and gives you content to put out on social media and all those things, which are, you know, practical. But really, again, it's about your client. It's about finding ways to help them. So a lot of the people that I talk to will say to me, oh yeah, I really need a better blog, or I need to blog. But the idea of committing to somebody else writing their blog for them can be quite a difficult one, because number one, what you said before about being unsure whether or not somebody else can get their voice right, that's a really important thing for business owners. This is something they've built, they've nurtured, they've, you know, their whole making grow. They don't want to lose control of the voice. But also, if we're talking about regular work, it can seem like quite a commitment financially. So I would offer businesses who want to blog but don't have the time, either to do their blog for them, which I can do quite reasonably, but also if you've already got the posts there and you've done most of the work, I can just put it together, make it sharper, make it more focused. But because I won't have to do the research, that's obviously a cheaper option for the business owner. And then the last thing I do is the workshops that you were talking about, which is I don't do the writing, but I'll help the business owner create a plan so that they have everything in place to do the blogging themselves. Because going back to why people don't blog, yes, it can be money, yes, it can be time, but it can also be not thinking they've got enough to talk about, feeling that nobody's going to be interested in what they've got to say, or just confidence. So I've found that by helping people make a plan, it actually gives them some of that confidence. It can take away some of the time pressure because they've already done a lot of the prep and they know what they're going to write about. And when you sit down and do this plan and you look at all the things that you know about that other people might be interested in, the number of people who've done the workshop with me who have said, I didn't think I'd have enough to talk about, but they come away with this page full of ideas and tips to help them come up with new ideas. It's really valuable. And people that have said, oh, I'm really going to struggle to write a blog once a month, then think, well, I might try and do 2 a month because actually I've got all these things to write about now. So yeah, as you say, I want to support businesses to grow, and this was for me about finding ways to do that, because not everybody will want me to do the writing for them.
I think having things at different levels as well means that you can approach businesses at different stages, because when a business is starting, we've been going for quite a few years now, and then in a few years' time, when we're global, we'll be at a different stage again. So I think the different services that you offer match up really nicely with businesses who have different needs. And I think the fact that it's so based on communication, building relationships, and has such a human element to it, going back to what we talked about earlier, that must help so many businesses. So who is your ideal client? who's like, what's the best review that you've had?
Oh, now the best review I ever had was a wonderful woman, and she's actually a business mentor based out in Bedford, and she is in fact she calls herself the insightful business mentor, and she is so insightful. The first time we met, she pulls stuff out of you and you don't even know it.
Perfect.
Her name's Elizabeth Toogood, so she's wonderful. And a couple of, oh god no, it probably wasn't even that, about over a year ago, she was redoing her website, and she asked me to do her words for her, which was so lovely. And the best thing ever was when it had gone live, one of her clients said to her, as I read your website, I could hear you saying the words. And it kind of gave me a tingle, because I thought, I wrote that, but because she had given me so much to work with and we'd worked closely on it, and I had got her voice so well that people that knew her well felt like she was speaking to them. So that was amazing. And yeah, I'd have a million Lizzes in my life. And that, so from the copywriting side, that's really important to me. It is, as you've said, that idea of being able to present somebody else's voice. But in the same way, I do have different client types who come along to my workshops, and those are generally people with much smaller, not been quite so long established, starting their way out. And the thing that I normally get back from those workshops is that people like the fact that I'll sit with them and we'll work together to present something. And it's the backwards and forwards that helps them realise how much they've got to share and gives them a little bit of confidence.
That's really good.
Oh, you made me happy now.
I think that working, because you have such a human element to you and to your business, which might sound really obvious, but actually not a lot of business owners that I've come into contact with always have that. It's very distant, it's very like processed, it's very almost robotic, whereas you're so happy. It's just nice to be around. It's nice to discuss.
It's a sunny day, Shannon.
I'm sure it's the same on a rainy one. So your blogging workshops have now gone online, or they're starting to go online, yes?
Yes.
That must have been really exciting.
It is very exciting.
But what I also really like is that you're very available. So if anyone wants to get in touch, if anybody wants to discuss web copy, what specific areas? Is it the wording? Is there any background stuff that you do within the website? Let's get some details on that.
So in terms of website copy, my focus in all areas is to do with building that relationship and the communication with the audience. Although obviously with websites, one of the things that people care a lot about is the SEO aspect, the search engine optimization, making sure they've got the right keywords. I have people around me who I can use to do keyword research for me, and a lot of web developers will do that. But I would never say that I'm a SEO specialist. If you've got keywords you want to focus on, I will use those. But my focus is on building your digital presence. Somebody told me recently it's brand building.
Okay.
There you go. Because it's all about presenting the people behind the business, presenting the business, the brand. So in terms of website copy, there's a lot of things to think about. Yes, you've got to make sure you've got the right keywords to get you found. You've got to make sure you're presenting it well in a way that's going to visually appeal to people, because otherwise they just will switch off. And it is about grabbing headlines, telling people what you want them to do with it. Don't just give them a load of waffle and then get to the end of the page and they think, well, yeah, but what do I do now? So there are elements of building your website words that I can help with. But for me, more than anything, it is about thinking about who it is that's going to be looking at it, making sure you're talking to them in their language, you're dealing with their concerns. Funnily enough, I did a piece a while back. I did a presentation at a networking group where we looked at examples of work I'd done for websites. And I asked the people around the tables to look at the before and the after. And we looked at a counsellor whose website I'd worked on. And the first piece was done by somebody who knew her well, and it was very formal and clinical and said what all her qualifications were and why she was nice to work with. But the second one, which the counsellor herself had worked with me really closely to provide, was so much more about you. It was about why are you here? What do you need from me? What can I give you to make you feel that you need to talk to me? We went around the room and 2 people in the room thought the first was better. They were both counsellors. Okay. Everybody else in the room, who were the people that they would be trying to appeal to, said, no. Because what we do as business owners is we focus on what we can do for you.
Yes.
Rather than focusing on what it is you're looking for.
Excellent.
And it's such a tiny difference. But if you get it wrong, somebody else has got it right.
Well, if anybody wants to get in touch and discuss any of those things, how can they contact you? I'm
on Facebook and LinkedIn. You can find Writer for You on Facebook. You can find Natalie Trembecki on LinkedIn. My email address is there. My phone number is there. My website is there. So yeah, just drop me a line. I'd love to talk. I always love to talk.
Well, thank you for joining us today. It's been a great chat. I've really enjoyed hearing about your business. And just, you have such a human element to it, which I really, really enjoy. So thank you very much.
Love to talk to you, Shannon.
Take care.
Thank you.